Have you ever felt like something was just off? Like the air around you was too heavy, the shadows too dark? I didn't think much of those feelings. Not until that night. My name is Jessica, and this is the story of how I realized I wasn't alone, and maybe never will be again. I've lived alone for a while now, and I've always been fine with it. At least, I thought I was. But looking back, maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was ignoring the signs, brushing off the feeling that something was watching me, that I wasn't really alone. It was a stormy Friday night, like so many before. I had my horror movie on, the kind that gives you a good scare, but nothing too bad, or so I thought. That night, the fear became real. Something felt different. The storm outside wasn't just loud, it felt angry. The wind howled like it was trying to warn me, and the rain pounded against the windows like it was trying to break in. I told myself it was just the movie getting to me, but then I heard it. A soft, deliberate thud from upstairs. I thought it was nothing, just the house settling, or maybe a draft pushing a door open. It's an old house, after all, but something in me knew. This wasn't just a sound, it was a presence. I reached the bottom of the stairs, staring up into the dark hallway. The only light is from the occasional flash of lightning outside. The darkness at the top of the stairs felt alive, like it was waiting for me. I wanted to turn around, to go back to the safety of the light and noise downstairs, but I couldn't. Something was pulling me up, something I couldn't see. As soon as I walk upstairs, the air grew colder. The hair on my arms stood up, and I could see my breath in front of me. I felt like I was walking into a freezer, each step taking me deeper into the unknown. The door to my bedroom was open, just a crack. I always keep it shut. Always. I knew something was wrong. I could feel it in my gut, a cold, twisting sensation that made me want to vomit. But I kept walking toward it, driven by a mix of fear and curiosity. The room looked untouched. My bed, my dresser, the pile of laundry I kept promising myself I'd fold. Everything was just as I left it. But then I saw it, or thought I did. A shadow shifting in the corner of my eye. I turned, heart racing, but there was nothing, just shadows. I laughed nervously, trying to shake off the fear creeping up my spine. But that's when I heard it, a whisper, so faint I almost thought I imagined it. Jessica. It was my name, clear as day, whispered from somewhere in the darkness. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. I wasn't imagining it. Someone was there, someone who knew my name. I had to see who it was. I had to prove to myself that I wasn't losing my mind, that there really was someone there. My hand reached for the closet door, shaking like a leaf in the wind. Nothing, absolutely nothing. But just as I started to relax, I felt it. A breeze, cold and unnatural, blowing from the attic hatch above me. The attic. I had forgotten all about it. That's where the sound was coming from. I was sure of it. I felt a sudden urge to go up there to see for myself. I told myself it was stupid, that I should go back downstairs and call someone, but my feet moved on their own, stepping onto the chair to reach the attic string. I pulled down the ladder and a wave of cold air hit me, even colder than before. It smelled like dust and something else, something rotten, something old. I climbed up, each rung of the ladder feeling like it would snap under my weight. I didn't know what I was expecting to find, but I had to see. The attic was filled with old boxes, furniture covered in sheets, and the smell, God, that smell. It was like something had died up there and never been found. And then I saw it in a small box in the middle of the floor, open, with something inside. It was a diary, old, falling apart, and filled with page after page of frantic scrawls. My name was written over and over, mixed with warnings, threats, things that made no sense. Get out. Don't look back. My hands were shaking so much I could barely hold it. And then I heard it. A thud, louder than before, coming from the corner of the attic, where the light didn't reach. I felt my heart stop. I wasn't alone up there. I knew it. My flashlight started flickering, and in that brief moment of light, I saw something. A figure standing in the shadows watching me. My heart felt like it was going to explode. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I was frozen, trapped by its gaze. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. The figure was just standing there, staring at me, or maybe through me. I don't know how long I stood there, but it felt like an eternity. And then it stepped forward. I ran, stumbling down the ladder, barely catching myself before I hit the floor. I slammed the attic door shut and locked it, my hands shaking so badly I could barely turn the lock. I could still feel its eyes on me, still feel it watching. I grabbed my phone to call the police, but then, what would I say? That there was a ghost in my attic? A monster? They'd think I was crazy. I was starting to think I was crazy. But the diary, the whispers, I couldn't just ignore it. I decided to wait it out downstairs. I locked all the doors, turned on every light, and sat on the couch with my phone in my hand. I kept telling myself I was safe, that it was all in my head, but deep down, I knew that wasn't true. The hours passed, and I started to feel exhausted. More than exhausted. Drained. Like something was sucking the life out of me. I tried to stay awake, but my eyes kept closing. My head kept nodding. And then I heard it again. A thud. This time, it was right above me. I don't know how I got there. One moment I was on the couch, and the next, I was standing at the base of the stairs looking up at the attic door. It was like I was sleepwalking, or like something was pulling me there. And then I heard it. My name, whispered so softly, it was almost drowned out by the storm. But I heard it, clear as day. Jessica. My knees went weak. I felt like I was going to collapse. I wanted to run, to get out of there, but I couldn't move. I started climbing the stairs again, step by step, each one feeling heavier than the last. I tried to stop myself, to turn around, but I couldn't. It was like I was being drawn to the attic, like something was calling me. My hand reached for the handle, and I could feel the cold metal under my fingers. I didn't want to open it. I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't stop. And then, just as I was about to turn the handle, I heard a voice behind me. A real, human voice. Jessica? Jessica, are you okay? I heard noises. I thought you might need help. It was Mr. Thompson, my neighbor. He was standing at the bottom of the stairs, looking up at me with this worried expression. His voice broke through the fog in my mind, snapped me back to reality. I felt like I was waking up from a nightmare. I didn't know what to say. I just knew I had to get out of there. I practically flew down the stairs, grabbed his arm, and pulled him out of the house. I didn't care that it was pouring rain outside. I just needed to be away, far away. I tried to explain what happened, but the words wouldn't come out right. I must have sounded insane, babbling about shadows and whispers. But Mr. Thompson didn't look at me like I was crazy. He just nodded with a grimed face. Jessica, listen to me. You're not imagining things. This house, it's got a history, a bad one. People have heard things, seen things, just like you. You need to get away from here. It's not safe. I felt a chill run down my spine. I had no idea. No idea that the house had a history. I thought it was just an old, creaky building. But now I knew it was something more, something much worse. I had to leave. I had to get out. I didn't waste any time. I grabbed what I could and left, not caring that I was leaving everything else behind. I found a motel on the edge of town and checked in. I thought I'd be safe there. I thought I'd finally be able to breathe. For a moment, I felt safe. The room was small, the lights were on, and the door was locked. But then, that feeling came back. The feeling that I wasn't alone, that something was watching me even there. Then I heard it again. A whisper. My name. Just like before. I turned towards the closet, my heart pounding in my chest. The door was open, just a crack, but enough to see the darkness inside. I felt that same dread, that same cold fear. I knew I should run. I knew I should get out of there. But my legs, they wouldn't move. It was like something was holding me in place, forcing me to face it. And then, from the darkness of the closet, I heard it again. You can't leave. After that night in the motel, I knew I couldn't just run forever. The whispers, the feeling of being watched, it was all still with me, even outside of the house. I couldn't live like that. I needed help, real help. And that's when I found her. I read about a Haitian voodoo priestess who was known for breaking curses and banishing dark spirits. It seemed crazy, like something out of one of those horror movies I used to watch for fun. But I wasn't laughing anymore. I needed this to work. The moment I walked in, she looked at me like she already knew, like she could see the fear in my heart, the darkness that had been following me. She didn't ask any questions, just nodded and gestured for me to sit. She started chanting in a language I didn't understand, moving around me with purpose, her voice rising and falling like a song. I could feel the air change around me, becoming thick with smoke and something else, something ancient and powerful. As the ritual went on, I felt something lift off my chest, like a weight I didn't realize I was carrying. The whispers that had been echoing in my mind started to fade, replaced by a deep, resonant silence. I felt lighter, almost like myself again. The priestess finishes the ritual. It is done. The spirits are gone. But remember, child, fear is a powerful thing. Do not let it bring them back. The ritual worked. For the first time in weeks, I felt safe. The shadows didn't feel so threatening, and the whispers were gone. But as I walked away from that shop, her words stayed with me. Fear is a powerful thing. I knew I couldn't let it control me, but the memory of those nights, of that feeling, it wasn't something that would just disappear. I tried to move on, to forget. But sometimes, late at night, I'd still catch myself looking over my shoulder, half expecting to see something there. A shadow, a figure, something watching. The fear didn't leave me. It just went quiet, lurking in the back of my mind, waiting. I wanted to believe it was over, that I was safe. But deep down, I knew that some things never really go away. They stay with you, haunt you in the quiet moments, in the dark corners of your mind. I beat it once, but I knew I'd never really be free.